Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, a couple of years ago, I did a video on my physical Xbox 360 collection. This year I thought, hey, why not do the digital? I've actually been planning to do this for a while. I should note that a lot of these most of these are indie and arcade games. And a number of them I haven't played in a while. And some of the pictures on these aren't appearing, which I apologize for, but whatever. So let's just get to it. First we have an indie game, which was called A Madman's Guide to Happiness. It's kind of like one of those old PC games, where basically you're just, reading text and solving puzzles. It's basically you're a detective who shows up at a murder scene, and you go into the guy's computer to find out, why he did what he did. And it's actually pretty creepy. If you get a wrong answer or something, the screen turns black and white, and this voice goes, "No!" Next we have Agus Wing, which was a free game. It's a side-scrolling shooter, kind of like R-Type or Darius Twins or something. Next we have Amy. This was a survival horror game, kind of like Silent Hill. Assault Heroes. I haven't played this in forever, so I don't really remember it. Battleblock Theater. This is kind of like a puzzle platformer type game from the same makers as Castle Crashers and Alien Hominid. It's a very fun game. Blood Rain Betrayal, kind of like, what the hell do you call it, Castlevania, very good game. Death of Breath 7, I don't think there was a 1 through 6, but whatever, it's just a funny thing. It's pretty much like, Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior, like those old games, so it's like, you play as all undead characters you can see on there. There's a skeleton, a ghost, a vampire, and a zombie. I played that quite a bit, actually, because I love those types of old JRPGs. Next we have Castle Crashers. Awesome beat 'em up. This is probably the first arcade game I bought on here. There's a ton of characters. It's like an arcade style beat 'em up, but there's also kind of a RPG element as well. It's not the kind of game you'd beat in one sitting. There's a ton of characters to play in it, which you unlock in a variety of ways, including, for example, if you beat it with the Red Knight, you unlock the skeleton. You beat it with the skeleton, you unlock the bear. And then there's also characters. There's a couple of, I think there's 5 arenas, which you do kind of an endurance thing, and you unlock characters from that as well. Anyway, next we have Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which was originally on the PS1, then it was ported onto the arcades here and stuff. Awesome game, absolute masterpiece. Charlie Murder. This is a arcade style beat 'em up where you play as this heavy metal band. It's a pretty good game. Chronicles of Mystara. This is the 2 Dungeons & Dragons arcade games. The one that I remember mostly was the Tower of Doom. I remember that one because it used to be at the arcade that was across the street from my mom's house back in the 90s. And God, I played that game so much as a kid. So many great memories with that game. Never played the other one, which I've drawn a blank on the title, but, like I said, it's the 2 of them. And I'm pretty sure this was on the Wii U. So, because of that, I would love to see this make it to the Switch, because, even though I already own it, it would be awesome to take it on the go, because I think Tower of Doom is quite possibly one of my favorite games of all time. Crazy Taxi! I kind of like the Dreamcast version better, maybe it's just the music or something, but, I don't know, still a classic game. Dash of Destruction, this was another free game, because it was a Doritos-sponsored game or something, but you play as a T-Rex and you destroy a city. It's okay, it's a pretty fun game. Dead Pixels, it's a side-scrolling arcade shooter-type game where you fight zombies. Defense Grids, a tower defense game. The classic Doom. Doritos Crash Course, it's kind of like American Gladiators. Then there was a sequel. Double Dragon Neon, awesome remake of the arcade game. Dungeon Defenders, I think this was what the hell do you call it? Strategy game or something. I haven't played it in forever. Earthworm Jim HD, one of my favorite, as I've mentioned before, and of course the picture's not mentioned, Shauna, but as I mentioned before, this was one of my favorite mascots of the 90s. So, yeah, it's cool to have this version of it. Elements of Destruction, this is a fun game. You play as a mad scientist, and you use lightning and earthquakes and tornadoes to destroy cities and stuff. Fable 3, I think this was on sale or something, or it was free or something. Good game. Not really, yeah. Far Cry Blood Dragon. This game is awesome. This is a first-person shooter, but it's kind of it has that 80s or 70s, 80s, like, sci-fi B-movie feel to it. Flashback, which is like a remake of the classic one. Game Room. This was really cool. It's free to... I don't know if it's still supported or not, but it's free to download, and then you buy, like, a bunch of old... which most of these games are like $1 or something. I think you can also buy them in packs. It's like old Atari and Intellivision and... I think like Konami and stuff, like old classic arcade games from those companies, and then you set them up in your game room, like you have a whole like arcade and you set them up, and then like the avatars from like your friends list and stuff will all walk around and like play the games and stuff. It's, like I said, it's really cool. Guardian Heroes, this was an old Sega arcade game. Halo Waypoint, that's just like a, yeah. Happy Wars, this is a, kind of how to describe it. It's a very fun game. It's free too, or it was free. I played the crap out of that. Every now and then I'll still dig that out to play. Harm's Way. This is another free game. I think this is kind of like a cross between a racing game and Twisted Metal or something. Hexic HD. It's a puzzle game that was free. Lucha Fury. This is another beat 'em up where you play as like luchadors. Marble Blast Ultra. It's a marble game, puzzle game. Mad Hazard. Bloodbath and Beyond, and yeah, he's only had 2 games, Mad Hazard, but I'd love to see more of them from him. This one is kind of more like an old school one. I think I only have the demo. I don't think I ever actually bought this game. Mega Man 10. I don't know why I skipped out on 9. Maybe because my brother had it or something. I don't know. Ms. Pac-Man. This actually came in like a collection thing that I bought for $20, which I'll get to more on that in a little bit. It was like a collection thing that there was 3 games on the disc. And then this one was like digital or something. So yeah. Obesity Epidemic. This is pretty funny. It's a it's kind of like the controls are, what the hell is that game called? It's like what is that game called? Smash TV. And the plot is that, you ever see the movie WALL-E, where like the whole planet is pretty much like obese? That's basically what this game is. So it's like, because of this, there's no food left on the planet except for these 4 right here. I think it's a taco, a donut, like a chalupa or something, and a hot dog. So them being the only ones left, they have to, they have to fight their way through hordes of obese people and stuff. It's actually a really fun game. The plot is pretty funny. Puzzle Fighter HD. I only have the demo of this. Some of these I only have the demo. The Rock Band Music Store, that's not really important. Rocket Riot, that's a fun game. Saints Row the Third, very good game. This was, I think this was like, they were giving it away. It's like for free or something. I haven't played this in a while, but I remember where I left off was like oops, I did not just do that. Okay, where I left off was that my gang, like, pretty much rules the whole city. Shoot Many Robots, good game, kind of like Contra. These 2 are demos. Sonic CD, classic game. Sonic game for the Sega CD. Spare Parts, this is a pretty cool little platformer. Super Meat Boy. Kind of hard to describe, but it's fairly well known. It's a very fun game, but very hard. And I guess I know it's on the Switch, and I guess it's actually selling really well on there, because it is a great game. It's just, like I said, it's very hard. Simpsons, like, I don't know, maybe it's just, I know Konami, like, these, Konami arcade titles you can no longer buy on here because, like, something to do with, like, the licensing or something, but maybe that's part of the reason why these ones aren't showing up. But first we have the Simpsons arcade game, which, that's such a classic. We have Toy Soldiers, which is like another tower defense game. Turtles in Time, this was like a remake one, which is pretty good. Like, it's not, I think this one gets a lot of bad rep, mainly because it wasn't like the SNES game, because that's the thing, you had the arcade game, and then there was the SNES game, which was like a different type of port, like they changed it up a bit. So basically this one is like more of a remake. It's not a remake of the SNES version, it's a remake of the arcade version, which was somewhat different. Vandal Hearts Flames of Judgment, which was like, there was 2 Vandal Hearts games for the PS1, and the second one is entirely different. It's like kind of a different story almost. This one I'm pretty sure is a prequel to the first game. Yeah, these were awesome Konami games. This one is okay. I think the best Vandal Hearts game is the first one. And unfortunately, the way Konami is now, I don't know if we'll ever see any more Vandal Hearts games, but whatever. So, yeah. Virtua Fighter 2, which, God, I remember the first one and the second one, but more specifically the second one. I remember these both used to be at the arcade across the street from my mom's house. There was the first one, which I remember had like the seat and everything. Then there was later the second one, and I played this one so much at the arcade. I don't remember playing the first one too much, but I remember playing this one a lot. Worms 2 Armageddon. The Worms games are hard to describe, but they're so much fun. And then, of course, the X-Men arcade game. God, I remember when this was coming to... I remember it was a friend of mine from high school posted a thing about it on Facebook. It was like the trailer, the old intro, and it was like, coming soon to Xbox Live, and I was like, you know, and when it came out, I was so excited. And unfortunately, like I said, you can't buy these on here anymore, but hey, there's the emulators. And I'll never forget the first time I played this in the arcade, or the first time I beat it in the arcade. I was watching the intro, and this little kid came in, probably like a couple of years, because I was probably like 7, probably about 6 or 7 at the time, and this little kid who was probably like 4 was like, Daddy, I want to play this game. I'm like, okay, let's get our tokens first. So he played with me probably a little bit through the first stage. And then on the 4th stage, these other 2 kids came and started playing it with me. And then I played for about a level or 2. And then I was like, well, I might as well finish the game. So I did. Like I said, that was the first time I played it. Yeah. Zombie Driver. This is a pretty fun little drive and shooting game. You kill zombies. And finally we have Zombie Estate, which the picture isn't showing up. This is, I think this was the first indie game I got. It's kind of like a survival horror game, but on the NES. You basically just... It's for 4 players too, and it's actually really fun. You play as like a variety of different characters that... you know what? Screw it. Let me just show you real quick, because it's hard to describe. This video... Okay. Things signed out for some reason. And it just... A variety of characters. A whole bunch of different characters you can play, including like any... I'll pick the ninja, because ninjas are cool. Sure. You can buy more weapons, too. I can remember how to shoot. How the hell do you shoot? Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can... Once you, do you have, like, the pistol? Yeah, so you collect money, and then you buy power-ups, like, in between rounds. And then there's other creatures you fight as well, like there's skeletons and other things like that. But yeah, this is a really fun game, especially with 4 players, so... Anyway, that's my digital 360 collection. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.